We hope you enjoy Rachel Lawson's The Magicians. If you could read my mind with the song.
I saw her across the floor. My eyes loved her from the moment I saw her. But I knew I had to leave her. She spoke and my heart raced and hurt. I knew we were never meant to be. The moonlight is beautiful tonight. The angel said, breaking my heart with her words. I spoke to her. She smiled. She was the nicest, sweetest lady, but she could never be mine. We were two ships in the sea, just meeting and passing by. The moonlight is beautiful tonight. She told me we shared a glance of love and heartbreak, and had to leave far apart, never to meet again. I was forever haunted by her words. The moonlight is beautiful
The singer with the band sang. "Do you want to dance?" asked a tall, handsome, black-haired man with blue eyes. The woman he spoke to was in love with him. The man felt awkward. "Okay," said the lady. "What is your name?" he asked her. "Jane," said the lady. She was a plain Jane. "Nice, I'm Fred," said the man, leading Jane to the dance floor. They began to dance. Fred smiled charmingly. Jane was lost. She admired his form and was lost in thought. Fred felt embarrassed, but tried to hide it behind his smile. "What do you do?" asked Fred, trying to make small talk. "I work in a shop." "What do you do?" said Jane proudly. "I work in a theatre," said Fred. "An actor?" asked Jane. Not wanting to say his job was stage magician or emperor of the universe, Fred replied, "Something like that." "Lovely." "I always dreamed of treading the boards," said Jane. "Nice," said Fred. He spied an acquaintance. He was watching them giggling. Fred looked at him, pleading to be saved from Jane. "You can have her dad," Fred heard a voice in his head say. "But she's a man-eater," the man heard in his head. "I know I can read her like a book, too," said the son in Fred's head. The man and Fred were telepaths. The son was amused by her thoughts and how she made his father squirm. They had a strange relationship, Fred and his son. The band began to play "If You Could Read My Mind." Fred felt sick. He couldn't stop it, and he wasn't even trying. He was there to find a killer who was killing men with lonely hearts who frequented the dance house. Jane was obsessed with him. He wanted to leave her, but it would be cruel and rude to leave her for no reason, and he was neither cruel nor rude. Then he heard it, a thought, a memory of a man being killed coming from a person nearby. "Was that you?" Fred asked his serial killer son in his head, puzzled. "No, I think it was your girlfriend," said the son, the necromancer in Fred's head. This made Fred feel worse. Now he had to stay with her. "Do you want a drink, my dear?" Fred asked her. "Yes," she said, enamored. Fred felt she'd say yes to anything he felt he needed a drink. They wandered to the drinks table. "Sweet or dry?" asked the lady at the drinks table dramatically. Fred smiled and said, "Sweet for this sweet lady." "What about you?" asked Jane. "I don't drink," Fred said, and thought again, saying, "Sweet." Jane handed him a dry sherry. Fred was scared. He knew he was a terrible drunk. The necromancer walked over to them under the pretense of getting a drink. Jane sipped her drink. "Why aren't you drinking?" Jane asked. Fred gulped down the glass of sherry and coughed. "Too dry," Fred said, gasping for air. "Why did you do that, Dad?" "You know fumes make you drunk," said the necromancer in Fred's head. "It's all part of the plan," said Fred, who was getting tipsy in his son's mind. "What plan?" asked the necromancer telepathically. "You watch me," replied Fred in his son's head. "I'd rather not," thought the son, imagining his father being taken advantage of in his state. The necromancer threw down the drink, needing it. "Do you want to go out and see the moon?" asked Fred. "Yes," sang back Jane. Fred and Jane wandered outside, followed by the son, who hid to watch them, not at all happy having to do it. "The moon is beautiful tonight," Fred said. "Yes," she replied, intoxicated by the night's beauty and her infatuation with Fred. They sat in the garden on a park bench, looking at the moon and stars. Fred was growing very drunk, thought his son, who wanted to throw up. He was flirting with Jane a little too much for his son's liking. Jane was happy. The son wondered if it was a joke to have him watch them, until he saw his dad collapse drunk, and Jane was disgusted. She picked up her bag and opened it. Then she took out something small. She fiddled with whatever it was and waved it over Fred's neck, and blood leaked from it. And Fred was dead. The necromancer, seeing that it came out of hiding. She panicked and ran, bumping into another man falling over. It scared her more. "Are you here for him?" asked Jane, horrified. "No, I'm here for you," replied the man, a grim reaper. "Are you going to kill me?" asked Jane, scared. "No, I am," said the necromancer, making a sword appear out of thin air and beheading her. "Thanks for making me watch you." "I've got to go throw up," said the queasy killer, disappearing into thin air. The Reaper walked over to Fred and touched him, and disappeared into Fred, who came back to life, healed and sober. Fred got up, took the soul of his killer, and opened a portal to the afterlife realm, and took the soul there. The police thought Jane was a victim of the necromancer killer of bad people, and realized she was the killer of the lonely there.